I'm going to be sharing 5 leadership communication blind spots that's going to help transform your employee engagement rating. Hi, my name is Mark the Studler, and for the last 13 years, I've been helping organizations across the globe transform their executive communication capability. During that time, I've helped thousands of individuals improve their executive presence and their ability to drive business transformation and engage individuals on a deeper level. During this video, I'm going to be sharing some insights on how you can transform your organization's employee engagement in 2024. So, blind spot number 1. Firstly, for the research side, 79% of employees state they want to work for an employer that they trust. Now, the one area where we can transform that trust level is with our senior leadership team. People want to believe in the senior leadership team. But the question is, what can we do as an organization to start to drive that level of trust up? Well, it's all about your strategic communication. So that's leadership blind spot number 1. We're not communicating enough as a senior leadership team. So currently, when you look at most communication structures, it's very much a top-down. The executive team communicates their vision towards their senior leaders. The senior leaders drop it down to their managers, the managers to team members, and so forth and so forth. But here's the challenge. People on the coalface, people who are literally engaging with your clients, want to have access to the senior leadership team. They want to personally hear from your executive team around the vision of the organization. What's the purpose, the strategic direction? However, organizations are not understanding the importance thereof. And the blind spot is we're not communicating enough. So what can we do? Solution. The solution is simple. Start to improve the amount of town halls that your organization is delivering. What do I mean by that? That's where you bring the entire organization together in one place. Nowadays, we probably do it online. And there, everybody will have the opportunity to hear your leaders give them an update on the direction of the organization, to give an update on the strategic implementation, to give an update on the business transformation projects that are being discussed and implemented. Not only that, your leaders need to be communicating in a way that builds trust and connection. They need to be able to utilize storytelling effectively. They need to be able to open the floor up to questions. When your organization starts to run regular town halls, not once a year, not twice a year, but at a minimum of once every 3 months, that's how your organization is going to bridge the gap between where the senior leaders are and belief in where people believe the organization is going. Start to do that, transformation will begin. Blind spot number 2. 69% of employees feel that they're not operating in an inclusive environment. They don't feel like their team environment has psychological safety in place and the fact that their managers are listening to their ideas. So there's a lack of collaboration for that to exist. So what's the blind spot? Well, the blind spot is your leaders do not understand the fundamentals of psychological safety, and they're not embracing the importance of being vulnerable, open, and honest in terms of their communication. Now, for us to start to transform that, there's a couple of things that need to happen. Number 1, what is psychological safety, right? It's when your leaders are able to create an environment where your team members feel like they can be listened to, that they can share their opinion without being judged, that they can collaborate, and more importantly, that they're made to feel valued through using inclusive language and opportunities to share. Secondly, in terms of this area is this idea around vulnerability. Leaders have this assumption that when we are vulnerable, we are weak. When in the reality is vulnerability makes us stronger and creates greater connection and makes the environments even more inclusive for people to collaborate, innovate, and more importantly, operate as a high-performing team. You want to improve inclusion within your organization and you want to drive engagement, start to help your leaders understand the importance of psychological safety, and secondly, how to be vulnerable and authentic. Blind spot number 3. Research shows that up to 22% of employees have left their organizations because of the lack of communication that they're receiving from their supervisor or manager. The reality is, as working as an executive communication coach and trainer, many leaders are technically highly competent, but when you look at their communication capability, they lack visual impact. They lack the ability to engage audiences and, more importantly, to inspire people to want to embrace change. We are living in a world where we're constantly being bombarded with change and business transformation projects. And as a result, we have fatigue. But that fatigue is being driven by your leaders' lack of ability to sell the value of these business transformation projects. If you can't sell the why, on the reason why I should change my approach to something and do something differently, then guess what? I'm just not going to do it. So what you have is all this great ideas of how we want to change our organization, but the implementation of these business transformation projects is really failing significantly. And it's down to your leaders' executive presence. So their ability to inspire trust upwards, sideways, and downwards. Start to develop your leadership teams and your project management team's ability to communicate with power, to build trust and to use storytelling effectively, and you will start to see individuals staying engaged, starting to believe in the organization and wanting to change on all the ideas you're trying to implement. Blind spot number 4. Your leaders think they're very good at giving feedback. Well, the reality is over 90% of individuals want to feel valued within their organization and receive recognition. Yet, research is currently showing that only 52% of employees are currently feeling like they're getting any form of recognition within their organization. So what does that tell us? The reality is your leaders lack the ability to be able to give effective feedback, to be able to handle underperformance, to be able to deliver annual and quarterly reviews in a way that inspires people, in a way that makes them feel like they can see a future within your organization. But the latter is happening. They're feeling disengaged. They don't feel like they feel valued. And more importantly, as a result, they're now looking for alternative opportunities to work somewhere else. You want to drive employee engagement. You want people to feel valued. Start to teach and train your leaders on how to give recognition effectively, on how to deliver value and make someone feel valued in the most effective way. It's got to be authentic. It's got to have evidence. And more importantly, it has to be given on a regular basis. Research is showing the younger generations have a significant amount of imposter syndrome and self-doubt. So if we're not constantly reassuring them with positive and evidence-based information, they start to lose the self-belief. Their productivity drops off, their engagement drops off, and guess what? Your employee engagement score drops off. Start to transform this and you'll start to see a change. Leadership blind spot number 5. 68% of business development managers and executives openly talk about how their poor communication has lost the business close to $10,000 in the last 12 months. 22% of those individuals have gone on to say that in actual fact, the loss to the business because of poor executive communication skills is sitting closer to $50,000 within 12 months. So the cost implication to your organization's lack of communication and story selling capability is having a huge impact on your organization's revenue and financial success. Your competitive advantage does not lie in purely your product and services. In actual fact, all the research is now demonstrating for you to drive your competitive advantage, it's all about your sales team's ability to communicate with impact, to be able to sell the value in a client-centric way. We've got to stop product peddling, and we have to start getting onto our client's agenda and demonstrating our value in an authentic and effective way. So thank you for listening to this short video where I've shared the top 5 leadership communication blind spots that could help your organization transform your employee engagement score as well as drive productivity and increase performance. If you'd love to know more about how we're helping organizations transform their ability to achieve in all of these areas, please get in touch. Our Net Promoter Score for the last 3 years sits on 96.2%. That's correct. So what we do with the organizations that we partner with is helping transform how their leaders communicate, connect, and sell their ideas. We'd love the opportunity to work with you if you thought it appropriate. So let's schedule some time in the diary and let's find out how we can help you transform your engagement.